This bag is always open.
All right, everybody gets to see a screen. Look at that. But I don't know the join code anyway.
So I will find the join code for you. I will help the Mona students.
You sure you want to do that?
Oh, yeah. Green, before you sit down there, I got that cable that I move across into there.
Where's my meeting ID?
Yeah, you can go cable across there. Yep, big lead in that cable. It's all out. Oh, yeah, you got it.
Where is the number?
We found the number. Oh, so the recurring number for Mona too, so they can learn as well. We are a fair.
866-694-672.
Well, there you go. So
who's going to send it to Mona?
866
should I send it in the SWEN?
694
You should know.
672.
Watch yourself get it.
Yes. But that's just me. All right. Automatically muted on joining.
Oh.
I automatically mute you all on joining. Oh, you want me to still get yourself hooked up there, right?
Yes.
Listen, this phone, y'all, and this thing.
It's really nice and expensive.
Not to mention
for us.
Yeah, I was about to say, man.
It's what?
It's nice and expensive when you put it in for us. You want to use the technology.
Fine. Have y'all got a number?
I am getting it now.
866-694-672. How do you turn this thing on?
There's a power button.
Oh yeah, it's number behind here.
Yeah. Is it 8668?
866-694-672. I don't have a USB key to put this on. Did he put on PowerPoint? Did he put PowerPoint on this yet?
Oh, Mona asking for the. Oh, yeah.
You see, that's the problem. Let's see, wait a minute. This is for that. Let's go here. See if I need a drive.
Hey,
I don't know.
No, real second, I can't send in the same group chat.
Man,
That'd be unfair.
there. That's weird. All right. That's not what I expected. I'm still seeing that computer. 866-694-672. All right. I'm at a loss. Why is still that whiteboard still seeing that? How do I join that? See, I don't know how to do that.
But didn't you do it last time?
Nope. I use my screen.
Oh.
Y'all are staring at your own laptop screens.
Yeah.
But y'all want to stare at this. Right?
It would be unfair for us to be able to see that screen.
Really?
Yes, it would be unfair.
Not unethical. It's nothing unethical about it. Just unfair.
It's not unethical. It don't matter.
Because right, if I said that's my issue. That's the only thing I have with it. Because if I set this stuff up, then how do they see it? I have a point. Right, I have to be standing in front of the screen. Kind of sucks.
How can I send this? I really think I'm hard about this.
So you're only seeing me. Let me see. Damn, David. You said the thing.
Traffic was a.
Yes, traffic.
You got some big accident on somebody warmers here, isn't it?
They had 2 accidents in Warner, one in front of me. 2 little things by the roundabout, but that didn't explain the traffic. I know. Don't worry about it. I can share my screen. They don't want me to share my screen, but still. We gotta get rid of it. Only showing my laptop.
It doesn't work. Just want that screen.
Yeah, I want. Yeah, I'm not gonna use the screen. That's not a pain.
What Kevin sending have to be added?
Yeah, well, see a couple people from more than one. Yeah,
I will
Who?
keep that.
Who can they send the link to for the send it off?
I use that recurring 66694 thing. That's a,
Oh, so I didn't need that then?
God,
I can see 5 participants: Zachary, Shamar Mills.
Oh, so you already sent it already?
Well, sort of.
Yeah, people started coming, so they just came in.
Okay.
I sent
let me
it
just-
to the SWEN group chat. Hopefully they can probably make it fit in our group chat.
Let me just log back over here then.
See my screen?
Pretty sure mine was muted. Yeah, mine's
Yeah, I think it's good.
So if I have my phone and so that I'm like first bit caught by
Yeah.
that. Mine is muted. It's my speaker. It's got to be
Okay, so we're not good then.
Well, it's only showing me, and I don't want to see you. Where's the camera fit here? I can't
That.
see it.
Talking headphones in now, so it shouldn't.
I see. Yours is black, so you could turn on your.
Oh, you got to turn on this.
Yeah. It's probably turn on. I'm not putting it on the screen. Like,
Don't point at me.
Huh?
Don't point at me.
Make sure he's always in, and you're good. If he's in it, the class good.
hide myself. There we go. That's the thing.
What happened is here, like, the video was mute. So
Oh, okay.
it is that.
Well, sure, we can still see.
You can still see me. I see myself here just not so if I hide myself from myself.
You gotta go to stop videos.
It's all right.
The
Hi, sir.
you can go swing and stop your video.
It's all right.
Yeah.
It's all right.
All right.
Yeah. I need this one. Okay. Because I use both of them.
So that's up there.
Yeah, I can see the screen.
Yeah, this is it.
He said, one of them.
Could we have
I think I see one person.
You say, oh,
Antonio working. It's Antonio.
I thought you were with that one.
Oh,
I heard my name. Stop.
I need to send nobody. Yeah, but
I see
This
one.
is
Where
Did you get that?
are the other videos?
I don't know. Then
So, because
There's Antonio.
everybody's seeing, where do you see the other videos? Because that the other camera. I can't see where the other camera is. Alright. Meh. Alright. No worry.
I know what happened to here.
Me neither, because I can't see it. All I see is I'm just working with everybody else. Go on.
everyone else's video.
Oh.
It's off.
There you go.
Okay. Even David.
You'll see the name.
Yeah.
Yours is off too?
You'll see the name.
No.
Yours is off.
Yeah. My video is off. My head is off. Cool. All right.
Yeah, you could turn mine off here now.
No, don't turn yours off. Because you're
Oh.
recording.
So you good there?
Yeah, it should be. Yeah. Because the audio is coming from you. Nice. All right, let's just do this. All right. Cool. Morning. You're on camera, so that's good. At least I don't have to be on camera.
It was here. Look,
Nice.
this one here.
Yeah.
That's the
So
inside
you can
cut
hear.
here. So this one here shows off.
Oh, okay. And then when you click on that, it just shows one.
Antonio,
Oh, okay.
reply to it and show them. So those two.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So you see everybody, right? They don't need to see.
Yeah.
Do that. All right. Thanks.
No problem.
All right, morning, folks. So we're ready to go. Jamaica should be able to hear me. Yeah. All right. Let's see if we can get it to work. There, good. All right. Thanks, David.
No problem. But again,
Huh?
I can start it honestly.
All right. No worries. I got it here.
There's some issues that I got to deal with. It's
We
crazy.
all do.
All right, guys.
All right. Good. All right, folks. So we're going to go through this set of slides about, well, we can look at HTML again, adaptive, responsive, and all that sort of good stuff. While that reviews, right? Then we're going to look at HTML in a bit more detail, and very briefly at some CSS. So y'all are already experts in all that sort of stuff, right? Yeah. Okay. So let's see if we get started. See if this works. There we go. All right, so responsive versus adaptive. Now we talked about this last week. Who can tell me the difference without looking at the screen?
Responsive or adaptive?
Yeah, the difference between responsive and
I don't
adaptive.
think I was here.
I think you were.
No, I came in with. I wasn't here, sir.
Oh, you weren't.
No, I came in like an hour late. Remember?
Okay. So who else was here for responsive versus adaptive? See, this is very good. Because if Jamaica could speak, you can't hear them.
So you can unmute them if they speak.
Oh, that's right. Let me unmute them. Who's but they can mute themselves because they think. So who wants to speak from Jamaica? Tevin?
Yeah, we're here.
Yeah, he's muted. Yeah, he's muted. Y'all could unmute and speak, but I can't hear them. Unmuted.
Or maybe the speaker's not on.
Huh? Hang on. The speaker is on because you can't feedback.
And that number just be on mute.
What, this one?
That computer's never be on mute.
I'm using this to record. So this is the one that has the
Audio from that.
where the audio is coming from this?
Yeah, the audio from the audio goes to that computer, I think.
Yeah.
And that computer is not muted.
Yeah, it's not. The audio plays through. I hear a voice. All right. Hey, hello, speak. I think you hear, Try. Who's that? I can't hear anybody.
Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Right. So who wants to volunteer and give me the difference between adaptive versus the other thing?
Say again?
Because responsive versus adaptive. That's the question. I'm looking for an answer two. Right?
Yeah.
So who wants to tell me the difference? There it is, but there's not. So responsive, adaptive, anyone here or there? Yes. You can still see it on the screen?
No, we can't see it. Is you put it back up?
I put it back up, yeah, they turn it back off. But I want you to give you I want you to tell, so what, y'all can still see it, you can't see it, right?
Yeah.
But that's the idea. I want you to tell me from last week. Hazard a guess. Anyone? All right, you're all wondering. All right, let's take a. All right, let's put it up on the screen because obviously.
I was gonna shoot in the dark. I was gonna say.
All right.
I guess automatically Respond?
Adaptive automatically responds or responds adapts? No.
Yeah.
Adaptive sounds like it changes. Responsive sounds like it does what?
Response?
All right. We're not getting anywhere here. Okay, so similarity is a similarity or difference. Responsive and adaptive sites. So they both have changed. Yes. So you got that part. Let me see if I can put that. Right? So what it says here, responsive sites have a smooth transition. Adaptive sites have a snap transition. What do you think that means? Yeah, is it?
One is SAG, one is
Yeah, one graph. Well, and you'll see why.
But well, I was gonna ask change how.
That's right. Here's how. All right. So adaptive. When you look at adaptive, what you have are templates that are actually optimized for the different devices. Right. So when you view your site on a laptop, right? The template for the laptop is one for the tablet, is one for your phone. Right? So it's basically, if you were to switch from one, it's like it says here, adaptive snap transitions. That's because each one of them has a separate template, right? Responsive it has one template that then flows to fit, right? Flows to fit the screen that you're displaying that the site is being displayed on, right?
But it still maintains a universal shape.
Well, the shape changes as the screen size changes, right? So that's why you give that smooth transition, right? If you like on some sites, if you were to change the width of the window, you see it would reflow the page, right? So that it will fit to the size of the browser window, right? That's the same idea behind the responsive version.
Blue, yellow, red.
It depends on how it flows, but yes, it'll be the same thing. Sorry, right? Yes, it will flow, but you see, you design the template blue, yellow, red, right? You see on the screen, and then as it shrinks, right, it reorders the content so it fits and resizes, right? So adaptive templates for each templates that are size, responsive are the ones that take one style and reflows it so it fits.
So, sir, if we're gonna have an adaptive site, I have to design different templates.
Right, basically. So not full on templates, but probably. We'll look at it. All right. So here's another example of. Why is that not fitting on? Why is that off the screen? All right. Doesn't matter. You all see it here both places. All right. So yeah, that's showing. Yeah, it's cutting off too. Doesn't matter. Sorry. It's weird. Yeah. Okay. Right. So as you can see, responsive, adaptive, what I call are dedicated. So it's giving you an alternative notation for adaptive, but the idea is the same, right? So X represents your HTML, your website with your CSS and that sort of stuff, right? Responsive, it takes that one website and displays it and resizes it depending on what is being on the device that's being used. On adaptive, you see it has 3 different templates. One for tablet, one for laptop, one for smartphone, right? So that's customized content and device-specific experience, right? Oh, yes, consistent content, device-independent experience. So responsive, the content is the same. You haven't changed the style of it. You haven't changed HTML and CSS. Well, the way you're constructing the site is it adjusts itself to how it's used with the device. This is the adaptive. That's the response. Okay, responsive site. So that's why it says X. You see X shown right through. Adaptive, you see X, Y, Z, different templates.
Oh, I see it's different.
So adaptive, when you check the content, you are more you design different pages altogether for the different devices, as opposed to one page that flows to fit, right? you actually have different size pages. So it's the same content, same HTML, right? But you have actually the style file that you use actually a different thing that actually shapes it. It doesn't reflow it, it actually redesigns it. So a different style shapes.
So like you see as for example, this is what I used to do to get the change of small space. I would have a div type.
Yeah.
And I have it set to 100% in CSS. So when the screen change, the 100% use shrink.
That's responsive.
That'll be responsive.
Yeah.
So what's the different adaptive, which uses X, Y, Z, and dedicated, which
Yeah.
uses X, then Y.
Right.
This is not the same.
No, adaptive is now if you have 3 different style sheets, you check to see what the media is. So if the media is laptop,
So then
it will then use the laptop style sheet.
it is 3 different HTMLs instead of
Dedicated is 3 different
using
HTML.
CSS.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Oh, see, somebody has it. Everybody else has it? No? Still confused? You have it.
I understand responsive and adaptive. I understand differences. But dedicated.
Dedicated is 3 separate HTML files.
Oh. Boy, so the adaptive is the same HTML file,
Different style sheets.
different style sheet. Dedicated is multiple HTML files.
Right. Responsive, it says 1 HTML file, 1 style sheet,
Just
yeah.
presets. So, but it's the same website on the dedicated. And it's the
Yes,
same
it's the same, it'll be the same website. But what it'll probably do is it'll probably use browser protection and feed you a different page. All right. Okay, this is a good example. So I was trying to look at it to see if this actually made sense. I didn't understand what it actually means. Right. This container is 538 pixels wide, where the browser is 673 pixels wide. The container is 800 pixels wide when the browser is anywhere over 500 pixels. So this is the thing that you were talking about, right? You create a container, in this case probably a div, and you set the width to a percentage of the overall browser. 100%. If you set it to 100%, it fills up the browser, and then as the browser shrinks, it shrinks. And now the content inside is reflowed to fit, right? And that sort of thing. So that's that way you get the responsive, right? Now this one, the one that says this is an adaptive container, 800 pixels wide when the browser is any width over 500 pixels, right? Anything smaller than that, the container shrinks to 300 pixels, right? So this is the one where it doesn't flow smoothly. It will be, if it's a certain size, certain width, under that it then drops. So it doesn't reflow, it gets your size, right? So again, you figure to change the style, right? Anyway, so let's move on. So responsive websites, okay, respond to the size of the browser at any given point because it flows, as you were saying, right? Whether it doesn't matter, it'll just adjust itself. Okay, I think we've got that figured out, right? Again, it's called, you see this word here, fluidly. It's actually called fluid layout, right? And that's the kind of layout that's referred to when you're talking about responsive design. If you actually Google the term fluid layout, it's hand in hand with thing. And it's basically done using percentages of the browser window.
Wait, sir. So let's use an example. Like, let's say you use it, right? And you have that full screen.
Yeah.
You can see everything. However, let's say if you bring down the screen or after the computer, and you would see it change in terms of where it displays its next videos and comment section.
Yeah.
So I'm trying. That would be responsive.
Yeah, look, yeah, I haven't seen how it resizes it, but like I said, if you see resizing, right, it stays at a certain width, and then it suddenly changes, yeah, then you'll say adaptive. But if as you keep resizing it, it keeps reshaping itself. As you keep shrinking, it keeps reflowing the content, and then it's responsive. So that's what I said, responsive, smooth transitions because it reflows, adaptive, snap transitions because at a certain point it changes. Okay? So at specific points it changes. It's only considered will the browser be at a specific width at which it adapts. Okay? Right, and it says adaptive design snaps into place because the page is serving something different because of the browser device it's viewed on. Okay? So that's why it switch. It serves up different content. So creating a responsive website, what is responsive web design? Okay? And that's what everybody is focusing on. They want responsive CSS, responsive HTML5 templates, and that sort of thing. Because regardless of the device that you have it on, it will display it properly. Now, it means you have to design it so it displays properly, right? Just putting your divs or your containers using percentages or M's, which is the size of the letter M. Just doing that doesn't mean that when you reflow the page, it will look good, right? So you have to take into account your design so that you could set, you probably at some point have to set a minimum width of your page, right? So that it doesn't try to resize beyond a certain, it doesn't try to shrink beyond a certain width, okay? Because beyond a certain width, the page won't look good, right? So you have to take into account your design, and your design has to reflow so that if you have things wide on the laptop and things spread across like that, it has to be, your design has to reflow so that you can line up nicely vertically so it will show properly on a smartphone. Not smartphone, small device. Okay? So it uses HTML and CSS, right? It's not JavaScript. Okay? It's all CSS, because that's the one that use it. Right? You could use CSS to resize, hide, shrink, enlarge, or move content to make it look good on any screen. Because as you resize, some content may have to disappear. Right? So when the content gets to a certain size, you might have to drop out or hide certain containers in your website. Yes.
That's one thing I don't know. I don't know to shrink text.
Shrink text when you reach a certain size? Neither do I.
So it will just disable, I don't want to say disable the function on the browser.
It's not a function on the browser.
There's a tab, and there's
It's a rule.
near CSS. There's a specific tab, I can't remember what it's called, that can actually just hide the tags. So
Yes.
it would get, you wouldn't see it. It'd still be there, but you wouldn't see it, and it wouldn't affect the rest of the
Yeah.
But me as the left-hand user now, I wouldn't be able
You
to
wouldn't be
click
able
that.
to do anything on
No,
it.
you won't be able to
As
see
long
it.
as it's hidden, you can't do anything.
Yeah, you would go and see the source. If you look at the source, you'll see content there, but you can't interact with it on the browser.
Oh,
All right. So the aim of responsive is that you want to be able to use many different devices and look good on all of them, right? Without having to do the burden of creating multiple versions of CSS and that sort of thing. So basically, it's starting, you import content with, device with, and that sort of stuff. It's setting the size of your box and that sort of thing. So this is just simple HTML that you can use to start creating yourself a responsive design. Set the box, right? Set the viewport. Okay. As you see, we have this thing called meta, the meta tag, that helps describe what the content is and what's to be contained in the content. Right? So this is very basic HTML and getting yourself set up to create a responsive design. So let's take a closer look at what the meta element is, right? And that's used to basically describe your content, what is held in your page. And there are a number of attributes that you use inside the meta tag, right? So this helps search engines tell you what your page is about. And when people talk about search engine optimization, this is one part of it, using your meta tags to help describe it.
oh,
Right? Okay, so metadata describes the page, keywords, who's the author, when it's last modified, and then other metadata, right? That could be important in helping people find your page, also helping the browser render it.
So what this would do is, let's say I want to search something on Google.
Yep.
The meta tag will be used to help look at the keywords I entered into the search.
Yeah, that's one aspect of it. But yeah, it's another page rank algorithm uses many different things. Right? So here's just a list of the attributes, some of the attributes that you'll see. We'll talk about a couple of them in detail, a few of them in detail. Right? So in terms of using it, right? You always go inside the head element. Okay? It's always you always use the name value pair. So the name, char set, the value, right? UTF-8. So it's name value pairs. Name, description, content. So this is name, this is the value, this is the name, this is the value. Name, right? Okay. Right. So name is not just those in Jamaica didn't see me indicating. Name is the when we talk about name value pairs, we aren't just talking about the name attribute itself. Name value pairs also refer to content, because content is an attribute and its value. Right? So the content attribute must be defined whenever you use a name attribute or the HTTP equiv attribute. Once you use either of those, you should define the content. If not defined, then the content attribute cannot be defined. Now, that's a strong language that says it cannot be defined, right? Of course, you could create a meta tag without a name attribute and still define the content attribute. What I'm saying is, when you get an HTML and the browser will render the page just fine, right? The problem is that your crawlers and stuff like going to search for it won't find it. Right?
So we don't have a name and meta tag that search engines won't be able to find it.
Yeah. If you don't have, if you create one of these, if you create a name, you have to create a description for your meta tag and don't provide the content, right? Because yeah, the robot searches won't find it. So you have to do it properly. Okay? And so, like I said, it cannot be defined. Again, there's nothing that will stop your page from rendering if you break these rules. Right? Your browser, again, will probably still render properly, but it won't work as expected. It won't, right? So the important thing here we're talking about is the viewport, because the viewport is what determines how your content is being rendered. Right? And so, as you see here, we have the viewport attribute, right? That you could set as well, content with device and so on. So we look at that and see what it is. So now this was introduced in HTML5 so you could control it. Before you had to do that, before you had the viewport attribute to set a meta tag, you'll then have to use JavaScript and that sort of stuff, browser detection. Okay, so this is a lot nicer because it's part of the HTML that helps with the render. Okay, so viewport is a visible area of the web page. And details on how it is, what it is, how you declare it. Again, content, you set the width, to the device width, and the scale, right? So you don't reset. So scale is 1 means it's full. 100%. Okay? So it controls the page dimensioning, the width, which sets the width of the page, right? Depending on the device, and the scale sets the initial zoom level. So what do you first look?
So I'll have to look at what would the width be in, because you have to scale here at 1.0. So it also be measured from 0 to 1 as well.
Yeah, well.
Or would it be a
pixels? Usually probably pixels.
So I would have to know.
800, yeah, 800 pixels, probably, whatever.
The pixels of whatever device I want.
Whatever you get there, you probably do percentages as well. Let's see. Who wants to Google that and see that? Because they have here, but I don't have my. What's it again? The width. What is the value of the width? Somebody's trying, yeah.
I'll just let you know that they were here.
Okay. All right. So, what is the, what are the values that go inside viewport width? Anybody Googling it?
I'm
okay. What's the value? Content equals width device. Width is the device width. Is it pixels? Is it percentages? What? Hmm?
Yeah.
Pixels. So pixels. Right. Now it doesn't say, it doesn't allow you to set percentages. Right.
Inside of the screen.
That's what I want to know.
Because then it takes the size of the screen and goes that way.
All right. So the device width can be pixels or percentage. Pixels will then be pixels. Percentage.
Okay, but that.
All right.
If this pixel, once we set the
Yeah, the pixel is fixed width.
Yeah, that's
Right. Once it's pixels, it's fixed width. So regardless of the size of the device that's viewing it, it will always be that size. Right. Okay. If you use pixels for the width, the width, then it won't change. When it's being viewed, it will stay the same width. It will fix. If you use percentage, it will. Although when you use the same thing happens when you're styling elements as well. You can set their width and that sort of stuff as pixels or width. Now I don't know how serious this is in enforcing the width of the page from the meta tag, right? I know the CSS rules may override this, right? So I don't know if you set this as pixels and then say that it's 900 pixels wide, and then you go and style the main element, so your body tag, and you set that to 100%, making it fluid. If the CSS will override the meta tag.
So that's what I'm just asking.
Mhm.
Use it in pixels, right? A lot of blocks.
900 pixels. Yeah.
So the same thing. Polarity is responsive.
Right. So if you want to make your site responsive and using the viewport, you'll set this as a percentage.
Yeah,
Right. So you can set it as 50% to 100% percentage of the viewport, and that way, as the viewport shrinks or enlarges, it shrinks.
So is it if I see device with that, it will go up.
You would think so, right? But yes, I would tend to agree with you, right? HTML, again, HTML doesn't force things on you, right? So I'm leery to say that if I set this, it then controls my CSS, right? Because you can set the width of the page using CSS itself, right? So that's something that is worth actually not just talking about, but actually doing to see what the right? So let's just simplicity say for right now, say maybe set it here. That's what we would do. Someone let's just say so. Right? And okay, well, because like I said, HTML doesn't enforce things. Right? It's almost like advisory. Right? Anybody from Jamaica has any other things to say if we could hear you? I don't know. I have the speakers on, but I don't hear anybody talk.
What's permission for recording?
All right. You have any input on that? Anyone?
Hear me?
No.
No, you're all good?
Yes.
All right. Well, let's move on then.
Permission to record.
Okay, so character set. Now this is just something again you use to help in terms of rendering the page. Right? UTF-8 is the one by default. Okay. Yeah, to me, you don't have to dwell on it. Set your character set to UTF-8, and you should be able to render all pages, all languages.
Oh, so what would happen if you would use something else?
What will happen is when you use something else, you may not have the character set in the browser, and then you'll get that little diagonal thing with question mark. You ever saw pages that have missing characters and it has a little black diamond with a question mark in it?
Oh, those.
Yes. That's when the character set, the browser doesn't have the character set, doesn't render it. Right. UTF-8, you should be safe to render all languages. Right, all character sets.
So this one is easy. So why would you use so UTF-8 is the new standard?
Yeah. You see people when I say new standard, it's the one that's widely supported. You see ISO, some sites use ISO 88901 or something like that, some number like that, right? To render, but then you get problems again with certain character sets.
So why would you use this one for all? If you say
That's why you
establish all characters.
Everybody uses it for one. That's why it gives you the default character. Right? That's why. Okay. All right, again, this is tables for your reference. You have your TF16, right, as well. That's for variable length character encoding in Unicode. That's what you get. All right. So, like I said, preferred UTF is preferred. Encoded for all emails and web pages. All right, the header element. So when you create your HTML, everybody's familiar with the HTML. You put your doc type, HTML type. Right after that, you put your header element, and that's where all the header stuff goes. Okay. Right. So title, style, meta, link, script, base. Those things go inside your title. Your head. Right. Okay. The title element is the title of the page. That's nothing magical. Right. The style, that's where your CSS goes. Right. So when you want to specify your CSS style, you can represent your CSS natively, locally, right there inside your HTML by putting it inside your style tags. Right? So you got
Sir, when I open up, when I have to do my CSS, I'm assuming it's a different structure from HTML.
it is, but
So I'd have to create like a new tab or something.
no.
Right?
No, you can write it right there. Put the style, and put the CSS right in there.
Oh.
It's embedded CSS right inside your HTML.
Once I put it in the style tab.
Yes, it will then treat it, then use it. Now that's not the advised way of doing it. That's right. That's it. So that's like early embedded style sheet, internal style sheet. But if you do it that way, then you have to copy that CSS to every HTML page you have. Right? So it's not ideal to actually embed your CSS, but you can use it if you want. Right? So it can contain multiple style tags. Right? So 3 ways of styling: internal, external, and inline style. Right? Everyone want to take a guess of what the 3 are? We talked about internal.
That was the embedded one.
Yeah. External would be,
I guess you put it outside of the main HTML file.
yes, when you put it outside of the
And I
HTML
guess you
file.
just call it
And inline is when what?
like
Someone want to take a guess. Yes, inline is when it's on the same line as the element, right? So every element, almost every element, I don't want to say every element, since I'm not HTML element guru, right? But you know most, I can't even say most of them now. They have a whole heap of them.
you know that's it.
Yeah, so you know you don't have to be dangerous and to tell you all what to do to get certain things. That's what it is. So HTML, all of them have a style attribute, right? And if you use that style attribute to actually style that element using CSS, right?
So let's say I have one.
Yes.
Let's say I have 3 elements.
Yes.
The inline styling will be I will be styling element 1. Let's say have italic fonts.
Yeah.
Like
Pretty boring, but yes.
Yeah, I'm using something.
Yeah.
And item 2 would be underlined, and item 3, say element 3 would be bold or something like that.
Yeah.
Or a different font size.
Yeah. So yeah, you could do H1 and this style equals, right? And you could just say font. What would be the font? Font base, no font. Font family, we could change font from control to Arial, right? And then you could say, well, color, you can change the color. You can change the red to blue, that sort of thing. Yes, but you'll use the style attribute that's associated with that element to use to create inline styles, right? I've left the links in, right? So you could click on it when I upload it, the PDF. You'll be able to actually click on those things and go to the Perfect W3 Schools site. Okay? Okay, so like I say, each style tag must be located in its head section, right? And they also support global attributes and event attributes. These are attributes that you can create so that on when certain values, when certain behaviors occur, when certain events occur in the document, the style sheet will better respond. So if you click on who, you actually have the style sheet change the style. Right? Again, a table for your reference. No need to go through them and talk about it. Right? That would be boring. Okay, and again, here's your global attributes. More tables, all located for you. So isn't that wonderful? Okay, I like it too. Right. Okay, now the link. how the signal to the tag or an empty tag. It doesn't have a closing. Tags usually have pairs open and closing tag. Link is just an open tag. Empty tag. It doesn't contain anything within the body. It doesn't have a closing tag. So there's no closing link, right? He already knows it all. Yes, he's dropping the sleep. No, he isn't dropping the sleep. He's doing it like, yeah, I know this. All right, okay. So the link tag between the document and the external resource. This is how you declare external style sheets, right? And you see the syntax, the example is there. Link, the relation, REL, stands for relation, it's a style sheet, relationship you're establishing. The type is text, CSS, right? And then the actual href is the hypertext reference, which is the source, which is the actual style sheet.
So, sir, the relationship style sheet there.
Mm-hmm.
I know you said these are examples, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it looks as though the href is the one. This can be the actual name of your CSS file.
That's right.
So why are the style sheet? Why is the relationship and type necessary if?
Because you have different. This link tag is not just for style sheets. This is for any external. This is for any external resource. Right. So the relationship is telling you it's a style sheet that you're looking for. This could be JavaScript file creating an external thing. Right. So anything that you're linking, it's ideal so that the browser knows what it is you want there.
So I'll have to specify that style sheet.
Yeah.
Always.
Again, your browser, if you just put link, theme, CSS, it'll find it. Right? But because people don't typically use the type text CSS because even though again the browser would know that it's looking for a CSS text file, people usually just put rel, the style sheet, and the theme and the href. Right? Okay. And here we are, all the attributes that you have. And like you said, so you have these. We only show you 3 attributes. These are all the other attributes: target, length, sizes, media. Right? This media helps you also determine, find what that style sheet is to be used for. Right? So you could create. There are lots of media types. You could create your browser so it would display differently on an LCD projector versus a laptop versus a TV versus set-top box. There are all these different media that you could create style sheets for, right? So that when your browser detects that is being shown on a TV, smart TVs have as well, right? And you pull it up, you can actually create a style sheet that will load and be used by your page if it detects your smart TV.
And you would find those in adaptive site.
Yeah, adaptive sites will also find in responsive sites. So yes, you could set up definitely adaptive sites. So yes, like a media query, it tells you what the what device is being used. All right. Okay. Again, there's the rel, the relationship, right? And we said style sheet. We see the other values there: author, DNS prefetch, help, icon, license net. Right? Reverse relationship. This isn't supported HTML5 though, right? So, okay, so that's a good reference to look at so you know what it is. Now the script type comes in when we were talking about using client-side scripting, right? Client-side scripting typically means JavaScript in this case, but it's not obviously restricted to JavaScript. Any scripting that occurs on client-side, you'll put it inside your script tag, okay? And inside there, you can put you can embed like how you did with style sheets. You put your style sheet in there. Same you could do with the script tags, right? If you here we talk in a sense we talk about it when I have it right there, right? So if you have the source attribute, then the script element must be empty. All right. So we talked here about script. We haven't shown the source. We haven't shown. Let me see. I'll see if I could. Nah, don't have any. All right. Right. I just skipped forward. I'm going to go back and talk about it. But you see, we have the source attribute here with the URL. That's equivalent to our href. That's similar. That's similar to having the href attribute in our link element. That specifies the external resource for JavaScript. All right. So that's where external JavaScript goes. So when you see these nice fancy pages, all pointing to jQuery and all that sort of stuff, as you see here, right? That's pointing to the external file, and that basically uses that file. So I can't say it would load in, probably will, because if you specify the external file, it has to read it, right? Process it, make it part of the document in order for it to run, execute, right? So that's where that source comes in. Now, if you have your source, if you specify your source, then your script tag is empty. As you see, it has the open and closing tags, right? And there's nothing in between. Compare that to the second example on this page where you see the script tag and it doesn't contain a source, but you specify the actual JavaScript code. In this case, jQuery code right within, right? So that's the same way with how you have the style tag. You can embed your CSS in there, but then you can embed your language in there as well, right? Questions?
Well, I was wondering if you could repeat the differences between the first one and the second one.
All right. First one, it specifies the source. So there's nothing between the script, the opening and closing tags. Right. The second one doesn't specify the source. It embeds the code. It puts the code right between the two tags.
So what sense does it make using this?
Same rationale as we have for the style sheet. Right? Again, if you embed the JavaScript and it has to be on multiple pages, you got to cut and paste that and make sure it's across all pages. Whereas when you have the one file, and you import it, right? All you have to do is change the one file. So view this source as, variable as opposed to defining our function or something else similar. Right? So again, I'm going backwards. So again, this is a simple example where you have the script open and closing tags with the element inside, right? With the code snippet. In this case, JavaScript, right? And this is back again. Now telling you about the details where we said source, if the source attribute is present, right? The script element must be empty. All right. You also have a no script element where it will actually prompt. Well, if the browser doesn't detect JavaScript is running, it will then show you the message inside with no script element, right? And you see that if you turn off JavaScript and go to Facebook or any of those pages, right? It will bring up a page, right? And it will also show you a message that says, you don't have JavaScript for optimal enjoyment of this thing, blah, blah, turn JavaScript on. I'll find a browser that does, like Chrome or whatever, right? So that's one way of dealing with it. My subscription is expired. No. Yes. All right. Yeah, well, all of them nagging. Yes. Okay, right now, here's the cool thing about JavaScript, something you should be aware of. Because a lot of here, when we talk about jQuery, right? Now that's a minified version of jQuery, JavaScript. But these libraries, they have a lot of libraries, a lot of frameworks, and a lot of things that do a lot of cool things, right? You can get carried away and put all these things inside of your HTML, right? And then your page loads slowly. It takes a long time to load. Fortunately, you have options for loading for script execution. You can actually set it up so that it can be executed synchronously with the rest of the page. So what can happen is you may have a library, right, that will not be needed or cannot be used by the user, right, when the page first loads, right? It may be a functionality that the person has to go through a number of steps before it actually uses this JavaScript library. So instead of making the user wait for that library to load, when they're not going to use it initially, you can have it load asynchronously, right? or defer it when the page is loaded. So you don't have to load everything all at once before the page comes up, right? So the script can be executed asynchronously, means that there may be a part of the script that you can invoke, and it could go away and start running, and you don't have to force the browser to wait for it to conclude. Okay, JavaScript allows you to do that. You could go and say, well, you click on the, say you're not logging. Logging is an example. What would be a good example? Oh, the good example which shows you this is like Google Maps, right? Something like that, where you could go and you could drag the map, or you get a location on the map, right? And then you start dragging the map around, right? So what it would do is instead of course, it doesn't load the entire thing, right? And if you're loading, if you are scrolling left, scrolling right, scrolling that way, right? It would make requests to fetch the next thing that's coming up, right? And you're still scrolling. You aren't waiting for that request to be filled, right? And you're still scrolling. It's fulfilling the request. So it's sending the request and still rendering.
That's why it's gray.
Until it.
That's why the front map is gray and little.
Sometimes, right? Yeah, it was right. It will show you that it's gray until it actually gets more than that sort of thing, because it's synchronously fulfilling. If it was synchronous, right, then when you drag, you won't get any response. You'll have to wait for everything to get filled in before it then responds, right? So script is executed synchronously with the rest of the page. So the page continues doing its stuff while the thing is being run. Now, if you don't have asynchronous present and you have deferral, the script is executed when the page has finished parsing. So if you're loading, if you have the page loaded up and you're running the page, you'll have to wait until your page has been loaded for you to actually run it. And in most cases, what happens is, again, sometimes what will happen is that if you have a large library and you try to click on things, it won't work because the full JavaScript thing, the full JavaScript library hasn't loaded, right? If you don't have async or defer present, which we didn't have in any of the examples, right? Script is fetched and executed immediately before the browser continues parsing the page, which again impacts performance, right? Because remember, we were talking about contextual language. We were talking about the head element, and the head element appears at the top of the HTML document, right? So as the browser is reading the HTML document from top to bottom, right? It comes across all these wonderful links to all this wonderful JavaScript stuff, right? It sees the source is this URL, right? It then goes and requests that URL, that resource, and starts loading it up before everything else.
What was that really impact the performance in a negative light? Because I know you're not loading up pages in the proper way, but you're still loading up a page. So how does this negatively affect? Other than just it looks bad.
The page takes a long time to load.
Why?
Because it has to fetch it and parse it.
Oh.
Okay. Right? I mean, even though it's minified, you won't necessarily notice it. But when you use these, and you have a lot of them, right? And you have, like, an example was I created a site that had all these nice little libraries and stuff in them, right? And you have it posted in the US, right? So the site is hosted in the US, right? Exactly. So if you're in the US on the network and you're close to where the site is and that sort of stuff, it loads up quite nicely, right? Until you come down, you're here in Barbados, right? And what you get, because the person who designed the template knew that they have all these libraries in here, and they created one of those little nice little screens that just give you that little graphic that goes around the circle, right? And so it has that nice little weight screen for you. It's a library for that.
I didn't know you can create one that can create application on page. I don't want to where it's doing it while.
Yeah, again, it's that asynchronous call that it's doing, right? So load it up, it's synchronous and wait for the stuff to load, right? So it could probably use JavaScript. I think it's a little library it has. Like it checks the ready state of the page, and once it's fully loaded, then it will display the page. The problem is that I have all those libraries all loaded up and that sort of thing over click connection, and the page will sit on there, and you just see that when the page is going around and around and around and around, right? And then you have to stop and reload it, at which point it will load faster because it's not cached with scripts and that sort of stuff. Which is unacceptable because then you go and tell somebody, oh, the site is there, and they go to the site and go, I'm getting nothing, right? So you got to be careful how you're loading up these things. One of the things that they do is they put, instead of putting, because there's nothing that says the script tag has to go inside of the head element, right? So what people usually do for performance sake is put the scripts at the end of the HTML. And you'll see that instead of having, you'll have all the HTML and that sort of stuff, and then have all the script tags at the bottom just before you close the HTML document. So that the page loads, and then all the HTML loads afterwards. So at least the person can see the page. It has basic functionality, right? So, yeah. All right, so that's the jQuery. We dealt with asynchronous, again, for references, deferrals, source, and type, right? Okay. The base URL, I have never used it, but that doesn't mean you can't put it in. Yeah, when you put it in, it makes it look as if you know a lot more. Google base element. Why do you have base element here? What is that even? Right. So the base URL. I pressed follow. Yeah. Anyway, right. Okay. So specifies. Right. The URL target for all the URLs. So it's basically a way, instead of having to probably specify full URL and all that sort of stuff, specify the root of them, and then you can specify anything else into that. Again, I never used it. So there can be more than one base element in the document, and it has to be cited ahead, so on. Okay? Again, I don't use it. I don't think you need to use it. I haven't seen it used much. Okay, all right, on to style sheets. All right, how much more time do we have? Like 5 more minutes? Yeah?
Yeah, got 2 now.
I know. I know.
I thought that was at 10:30.
Class is not end at 10:30. It ends at 10:30 in your dreams. All right, don't worry. We're almost done. Okay. All right, cascading style sheets. This is everybody's favorite topic. You all love cascading style sheets, right? It's a wonderful thing. People make thousands of dollars knowing everything there is to know CSS. There are websites all over the place that get to it, right?
Like Wix.
No, there are people who are.
No, like sites dedicated to CSS.
Yeah. All right, we did all this last week. So again, it's that cascading style sheets tells you how things are displayed. Now you see it has screen, media, paper. That's the thing. Remember we told you about media attribute. Almost anything that you viewed, you could describe it as style sheet for it. So remember that your web page is not your web page can also be printed, right? And so you know the apps are printer friendly version. You know Mozilla has printer. You could make it. What's it? They have readable versions and stuff. The browser actually now has style sheets built into it that will convert your page from a style version to like a readable version of that. So, right? That's all done through CSS. So any kind of media you can define CSS for, right? Oh, and you could also can't forget for visually impaired and all that sort of thing. People are colorblind, all sorts of cases. Braille, you can actually use this to create some Braille as well. Yeah. I don't know. I never used it. Right? You probably have to have a device that will read it. You know.
I know they have the.
Yeah, you'll have to have a device that will actually allow you to use Braille. Like you can have Braille conversion, you can have Braille formats. But if you create your page, if you style your page, did you use Braille? Yeah. You can style your page so that it's still readable by somebody who uses Braille. Yeah, look and see if one of the devices there. Braille is right, visually impaired. What do you have?
The
Braille one of the media types. Very slow, but then again, you can get all imagine things.
Not real.
Media, CSS media. Let's put CS media values. CSS media attribute values. Yeah, media types.
Yeah, bro.
Braille is one. Okay, so I'm not crazy.
Intended for Braille type devices.
Right.
all those
Okay, so I'm not crazy. Thank you very much. Feel good. All right. Now this is a value of CSS, right? Is the fact that you can lay out multiple pages all at once, right? Using CSS, right? Or multiple versions of the same page.
same HTML.
Same HTML, different looks. I should have. I have it here, but I don't. It would take too long to bring up. Yes, but I have an example of there's a competition online. I don't know if it's still going. Where you take there's one page, right, that they give you, and you just show how you can sell the page just using CSS and all. Right? And yeah, it's not for money. It's just to show off your skills, how you can design. Yeah, you know. As soon as here, it's not for money.
I like money.
Yeah, if you all like money. All right, so here's the syntax for CSS, right? This is how you declare your rule, right? It starts with a selector, right? See, your selector is, in this case, an element, right, which is your heading, right? And then you have properties, right? The property is, and the property that you see in your element is not a property that maps with anything you find in your HTML document. All right? Because you have a lot of properties in CSS that are not available through the HTML document. Okay? Knowing what the properties are means you have to look up the CSS reference. Okay? So the properties and their valid values you'll have to be able to use the CSS reference for. Right? So there's nothing there that will tell you that that's it. Okay? You can have multiple properties, of course. There are multiple properties, right? And each of these, and it's again, it's that name value pair. Name of the property is property value, name property, and that's called a declaration, right? And this whole thing is called a rule. A selector with a set of declarations is called a CSS rule.
Okay, so would that all be, I don't want to say the grid banana, that sounds like, but would it all be within that?
What grid banana?
You know, like when you have a tag, you have
You mean the script, you mean the inside of this element?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, so this is what goes in between the style. If you're using an external CSS file, then all that's in there is your declaration. Right? There's no script, so you don't put the script tag inside of a CSS file. It's only inside the HTML. Okay, so declaration box, more than one declaration, separated by semicolons and bracket braces. Right? Property name value separated by a colon. Right? So that's your name value pair, right? Always ends with semicolon, and it's all surrounded by braces. Okay? Now, the selector, like I said, that first selector we showed you, that one was for an element, but you can have selectors that are classes. Remember we talked, y'all don't remember, because that was a long time ago, that was what? 7 days ago? Yeah, it's always, I can't believe it's that long. Anyway, right, moving on. Right, classes. A class selector is one is basically a name preceded by a dot. Okay? That's how you identify a class. Now, in CSS, I'm going to just talk through it. You won't get a clear idea, but I'll still say anything. In the HTML document, there is a class attribute that can be associated with almost any element. Again, I say almost, but I'm sure there are elements that don't that the class attribute doesn't apply to. I can't think of any offhand, right? But all the common elements that you're going to be using, div, article, aside, section, header, head, all those have a should put a class attribute to apply to it. Head doesn't have a class attribute. Because you can't style the head. Right? Body, all those have class attributes. The class attribute, so you say class equals, and then you give it a name. Right? So typically you'll see people have body, and they have class equals name or something like that. Right? So when you declare a class inside your HTML using the class attribute, and you want to style that class, then you declare the class selector with a dot. Oh wow. Colorful. Yes, they're wonderful colors we have. HTML5 provides a lot of interesting colors. Yeah, usually the numbers are fine, but yes, they have a lot of interesting colors by default. Right? And you see you can specify the width as pixel, and this is what I was talking about. And this is why I'm suspicious of saying, I'm leery of telling you definitively, because I have not tried it myself, that if you use the viewport attribute, viewport value inside the meta tag, I'm doubtful it will overwrite the CSS because of the way CSS works, right? Doubtful it will overwrite it. So if you set the viewport to 900 pixels and not flex item, but you didn't set the main body tag to 800 pixels, I got a feeling CSS will overwrite it. I have a feeling so.
So sorry, you're saying about width, maybe we could change that to device width.
I don't think that is a device width is a variable you'll be able to use here. You have this is restricted pixels, percentages, and ends, right? But yeah, in terms of rest, yes, you can, but you have to describe it as pixels.
So they're saying all of the pixels, same thing for every width.
Yes.
And if we percentage,
It would adjust. Correct. That's exactly it. All right. Okay, we haven't talked about margins and all this sort of stuff. I don't know. I'll look and see because the notes are this fast. I'll see how far it really goes, but yeah, I think it's pretty well covered. All right, so you see how the class, how you do a CSS selector for a class, right? Like I said, it finds the elements or the attributes that it has to style, right? Because in this case, it's style an attribute. Right? And you see you have name, ID, class, attributes, and more. So it's almost anything that you could lay your hands on and more. Because stuff that is not even in HTML, you could actually still style.
But sir, think about it. I want to ask with that flex different item, that was specific syntax, or you just threw that in there?
It's a class that he defined.
so certain the HTML for that we use, yes. If you simply put any, so we have class this situation. If we just put background color equals we run it on the background color.
For that element. Yeah, so if you, what the class, that class is part of what? H1 was part of the class city. The type class of the city is part of which element? Was it? H2. H2. So the background color of that H2 element would be blue. So you just see that. For however wide that H2 element is, the height would be flower blue as a background for that element. Right? Okay. All right. So that was CSS. So that was to do the find and talking about things like classes. This is an example of selecting elements we saw before. Right? That selects the body element and sets its background color to light blue. And this one, anybody want to take a guess at what the H1 does? The rule for the H1. What does it do? All right, we have a table here. Yes. Yes, it says select header 1.
And then the CSS can use maybe.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Okay. See how I got the curly brackets?
Yeah.
So it's H1. H1 is a type.
Right.
So this CSS states for all H1s, the color will be navy, and it'll be pushed.
Oh.
You can also name your different elements with either a name tag, and that bit where that H1 is. So if it's outside those curly brackets and still in the CSS, it will be affected by what's in there.
Yeah. Okay, so here's my question. We have the pixel set margin left 20 pixels. Are you saying from the left margin, move it pixels or move it 20 pixels to the left?
20 pixels to the right. Click left margin, and then 20 pixels that way.
Oh,
Right. Right? Yes. So it said, what are you asking? He said, this one? Background color, yeah.
So inside you got any of us hungry, incorporate this part in this one
So, you know, there's that one the external style sheet. In the code I gave you, if you have the HTML, go inside the head, put in style tags, and put in that rule. Right? And then it will apply to that element. Right? Right. And yes, you mentioned, what's again? Jason there. So Jason mentioned something that I forgot to mention. The selectors, well, it says it's used to find or select HTML elements. It finds all HTML elements that match this, right? So it doesn't stop. It just doesn't find one and stop. That's wrong.
so but I built
You could filter, and I got a sticky feeling I probably got next week. Bring the actual CSS. I'm going to incorporate the slides from the other class I teach that goes into a bit more depth on how CSS selects things. It might be, I'll look and see with the rest of these notes if they are there already. You could filter on any element. You could, okay. All right. Let's talk a bit more about how this actually works. I'll mention it now, but then we'll probably revisit it later because it's important to understand how CSS operates. So just from a selection point of view, your HTML document is a tree. You know, everybody knows the tree, rooted tree. So the HTML root is the top. It's an upside down tree. Okay, right? So all the leaves and stuff fall on the bottom. Okay? CSS, when you specify a rule, it goes through and searches the tree for everything that matches it and applies the styles that have been defined inside of that selector. So when you specify H1, it takes all H1 and looks for it, right? Specifies any Bs, any attributes, it looks for all those attributes. Now, these rules are very simple rules because they're only specifying one thing. They specify the class in this case, right? And this one specified elements, right? There's this talks about ID selector where it's the same thing as a class. It looks for the ID attribute, and if it finds the ID attribute, it applies the rule to it. The thing about IDs is that there's only one ID of certain value allowed in each document, right? For classes, you can specify multiple elements with that class. So consider a class as a club, right? If you're all part of the club, right, you get painted with the same brush. You get the same access. Everybody in VIP, everybody not in VIP, you're part of the club, right? The ID is a unique identifier. Only one thing inside that document can have that value, right? Now, again, HTML doesn't stop you from specifying multiple IDs. However, CSS is not going to behave so nicely with you, and it will only style one of those things with the ID, right? Or even if the browser says, oh, it has multiple IDs and it styles everything with that ID, ignoring the fact that it's only supposed to be one ID, JavaScript will then kick you in the butt because JavaScript will definitely not treat all those IDs as the same.
So, sir, how would I be able to, let's say I don't want to manipulate the headers, right?
Yeah.
I want to manipulate the contents within each of them.
Kind of mention this.
Okay, let me see if I can rephrase that. How would, you said ID would be used to
separate parts of the document.
Separate parts of that. Mm-hmm. So how would I then, let's say I want to, there are some parts I want to change in terms of style, some parts I don't want to.
Yeah.
How do I do that? I'll have to use, because you said you can't.
Yeah, well, don't forget, we haven't really talked about CSS and all full power of CSS, right? So you're talking about different selectors now, you could combine selectors. We'll talk about some of it here, all right? And now then, so this is an example. Continuing, stick a pin in it. We'll talk about it shortly. This is an example showing ID. How you declare an ID? ID is declared with hash mark and then the sign, right? And that's where you see an ID. So in HTML, is the ID attribute. ID equals power 1. In your CSS, to actually style it, use # power 1 and you find your CSS rules. Right? We talk about the class selector already. It leads with a period character. Right? And so all elements with the class center will be red and center aligned. So that's that rule there. We talked about it before. Okay? Now, this is now where we start getting more specific. You can specify that only specific elements should be affected by a class. Right? So when we declare a class as dot center, right? Any element that has the class center specified for it will be styled as red and center. If we only wanted paragraphs that have the center class, right? Now this is where we talk about filtering, right? This is now where we're getting to filtering. So we don't want all elements that have the center class. We only want those elements that are paragraphs that have the center class to be aligned to be centered and colored red.
So I would have, so P is the element.
P is the element,
And the
dot center is the class.
That's class. Okay, so what this is saying is all those,
Mm-hmm.
the P element and center class
Yep.
perform this action.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now what was the next one?
All right, so you got to practice with this. I don't want to do anything funny. I'll leave it before you do anything tricky. Right. So, right, it is as you said. So imagine, if you will, right now your HTML, you open the angle bracket P, right? I have class equals center, right? And then you have your close and then for your text, right? And that attribute, that element would get colored red and centered. Now, if you have H1, open brackets, H1 class equals center, that will not be affected by this rule, right? Because it's not class, center class, that's PL. Okay? Grouping selectors, right? This is basically a way of listing, which one is this one? This is the one that I was actually going to say. This one, let me see if I got to remember, right? The comma separated list, right? The comma separated list, this is the one that's saying that it's basically navigating the tree, right? Yeah, because the space is the one that's, the space is the one that's listed. This is the one that's saying, oh, all right, do a quick search for me, right? Because there's a difference in the rules. If I have H1, H2, and P, the spaces, no commas, right? I think that's going to select a paragraph that is nested under H1 and H2. Comma separated rule is one that's basically saying apply this rule. A comma separated selector means apply this rule to all H1s, H2s, and P's. Right? So let a comma separated selector tell me what it says. Anybody found it?
First thing I see here is that commas is used for grouping.
Yes. And what does grouping imply?
Yeah, I was grouping implies that do it to all of these.
There's all of these
elements.
Right. Right.
So
Yes.
So it's spaces be. So what's spaces?
Right. Yeah. So grouping is, as you said, grouping implies do it for all these elements. So this is basically a list of elements to which you apply the group. All right. Spaces imply navigation of the HTML document. So without the commas, if I had H1, H2, P, that means I have H1 as which doesn't, yeah, H1. But you see, it won't work because H1 you can't nest H2 inside H1, right? But that would imply that something is a nesting. H1. Well, so the best thing would be you could do it with P's. You could do P. But let's for argument's sake say you can nest it. That's basically saying H1 with an H2 nested inside of it, with a paragraph nested inside of that, right? style that paragraph by coloring it red and sectioning it. Right? So that's basically what that's saying. Go from H1 to H2 to P, and style that paragraph by sending it and making it red. That's with spaces. Commas is basically a list of the elements that you want to style. All right? Okay, comments. Comments is the same style comments, multi-line comments, right? That's basically what it is. Single line or multi-line. Okay, so that's nothing fancy. We're done. All right. See? So that's very quick and simple. Do we have any questions after that hour and a half lecture?
I asked.
Jamaica folks, Mona? Anything? No? You're done? Survive, relax. All right. Okay, so that's it. We still have the problem. Well, we'll deal with this offline. Does anybody want to even have my email address?
No.
No.
You want me to send it? Let me send it.
No, sir. Sir, tell me it's accessible on the first lecture that you give us.
Well, they don't have the.
They
They don't have access.
They don't have access to e-learning?
No, they don't have access to email.
Oh, shoot.
All right.
It's like computing society. Bad audio.
This is good audio. All right.
Oh, boy, this
So,
good
Mona
audio.
folks,
That's
we'll
not
start
bad.
that out because you guys still don't have access to the notes or anything, right?
No, we don't.
Hi.
Oh, and also, when is your lab scheduled? You have a lab?
Friday
Fridays? What time?
from 12.
12?
Yes, 12 Jamaican time.
Okay. All right. So we'll try to get you the lab. At least I'll have to try to find out who's your lab instructor and all that sort of stuff. All right. And you guys don't have access to anything here at KFL, right?
I wish I knew how to.
Sorry, tell me again. All right. Anyway, we'll see what we can do because, all right. I'll talk to people who have the power to make changes. I have none of this power.
I can make changes.
All right. All right, everyone.
Bye.
Sir,
Bye.
sir,
Yes.
I just wanted to tell you that's a good shirt that you got on.
Thank you. Oh, you're wearing one?
Yeah, similar.
Thank you. Stylish, stylish.
Yeah,
All right, see you
yeah.
guys next Wednesday.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Good.